And it looks like we are live.
Oh, jolly good. Hello, everybody. Another week. We're still here above ground.
Absolutely. The homegirls.
Yes.
We're in our homegirl gear today from Homeboy Industries, wonderful company in downtown LA. It's all made here, and it's all by people who've had,
Nothing on her page.
Nothing on her page. Oh, well, it says we're live, but we'll keep yucking. Is there somebody there? Is there anybody there? Jolly good. Okay, so today we are going to hear all about a fabulous new book. One of my favorite songs in the world is Happy Together, the Turtles. Imagine me and you and me, me and you, I do. Yeah, I think about you day and night. And always been a big Turtles fan, so I'm fascinated to find out the scuttlebutt behind all of this and also get a almost live 1 day after, or 2 days after the fest report from our dear friend, author and producer, all around nice guy and pop culture expert. The crowd goes wild as we welcome Charles Rosenay, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation.
Hello. Hi, Charles.
So great to see you.
You got all your exclamations lined up.
Thank you. That's all that counts. Everything else, is secondary.
It's so funny whenever I text you or email you or write your name, anything, I talk to my phone a lot because I hate typing it. And it knows now to put automatically, Siri puts 3 exclamation marks out every time I say your name. So
you're on Siri's mailing list as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
The current book that I did is put out by a legitimate publisher, and they fought over that. They fought over the 3 exclamation marks, and I said, it's a closer. It's a no deal if it's not on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, God, yes.
You should trademark it or copyright it or something so that people would be forced to use it.
Yeah.
And there's Debbie Martin. Hi, Debbie. Happy belated birthday.
Glad you're home safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Ashley from Birmingham, Alabama. And Bobby is on, and all our folks. So do tell, first things first, how was the fest for Beatles fans?
Well, mind you, this is the first time I've been there in 15 years. Or
really?
Yeah, you think I go there every single year.
I did.
But because I do not conventions anymore, but I do festivals, it's sort of a conflict of interest sometimes with the producer of the fest, and I get it. So this year I came in as an author, and it was a case of, Charles, don't sell anything, don't promote anything else, come in as an author and it's fine. And we kind of shook hands in Liverpool over the summer at last August, and so we kind of friends again after many years. So it was nice being there, it was nice seeing everybody, and it was just people were coming up to the table and go, huh? You're there? And it's similar to Shannon. Shannon hadn't been at the fest for a long time too. Right. So we both made our gala reappearances, and I'm so glad we did, because not only was your book being, debuted there, but my Turtles book was there, and it was just a great opportunity to see fans who I hadn't seen in so many years.
Yeah, that's great. Doesn't Billy J. Kramer look amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah, for a guy who just turned 60, he looks amazing. It's like
80. Yeah.
Yeah, 80. But he's running down the hallways and he's meeting fans and performing. Yeah, he was a big hit at the show.
I've always had a bit of a crush on Billy J since I was a kid, and he was just this absolutely stunning looking young man with this incredible voice and this great head of hair. And I'm just so glad. It was so sad when his wife passed away so suddenly. And but he's really turned himself around, and with a little help from his friends and a lot of love. Can't wait for his new record that they recorded with Lawrence Juba at Abbey Road.
Yeah.
So that's thanks to Brian Vincent and folks like that for believing in Billy J, because he's
and he still has a great head of hair, and he's got a beautiful soulmate now. So he's he's smiling and doing great. And you have to not just listen to the new song, but you got to watch the video. The way I love the last Beatles release, Now and Then, it's that much better when you watch the video.
Yeah.
Same with Billy J's new single, where he walks down the streets of Liverpool.
Yes, I watched it early this morning. Actually. Great.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely wonderful. So who else? I saw that May Pang wasn't part of the fest, but she popped in to say hello and hang out with some friends, which is nice. So
she did. I didn't get to see her. I don't know if she even came to the author's area, but her friend Fred Seaman, who wrote a book on, and was part of that inner circle, stop by, but it was like every few minutes, Lawrence Juber walked by and Steve Holly walked by. And
Okay.
on and on and on. You know, it was really a full crew of Beatle people at the show. And that's okay too, but for me, it's seeing these people who've gone on my Beatle tours in 1990, or when you come to my conventions in the 80s, people who I haven't seen for years. That was really special, because I tend to see these Beatles celebrities, you know, more often than I do someone, you know, who's just a
regular fan. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's both levels of great fun.
Well, it sounds like you had a family reunion of the Hatfields and the McCoys without the sawn-off shotguns.
Right. And what's so great is, you know, your book is out, and a lot of the people who are in the book were at the fest.
Yeah.
You know, my book of top 10 Beatle lists, Greg Bissonette and Lawrence Juber, and a lot of the people who were in my book were also there, so that people, if they wanted to buy the book, I would sign it, and then they would do like a little scavenger hunt and get other people to sign it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know this, and that we've got a lovely picture of you holding your picture that I digitally painted of you.
I love it.
In Angie's new tome, with a fantastic cover by Shannon, who is just bar none. She's amazing. So there's 168 celebrities in the book and the ebook, and this. It's so heavy, it weighs about 6 pounds, and we had to cut off pages at some point. And so we decided to make a companion ebook. So if you actually purchase the book, you get to scan the code and go and download your ebook.
Well, thank you for not cutting me out of the printed version. I love seeing myself in it. And people were visiting the stall and visiting the Steve at the table and coming over and go, Charles, there's a picture of you as a teenager in the book. I go, no, it's actually a beautifully enhanced recent photo.
Yeah. No, I'm nowhere near Shannon. Good grief. I've only started 2 years ago, but I paint sometimes from photographs and sometimes just straight out of my imagination. But I like that image of you and the shape of your hair and your head and your face, and you just look like you were in a good spot. So that's the one I picked.
Aside from being in it, I can't recommend it more. I mean, it's just such an amazing book. It looks great. It feels great. It's something that every collector should have in their library. Every Beatle fan should own.
Well, there's only 1,001 of them. We had to press an extra one because there is a collector called John Bazzini who he doesn't want the first in a series. He always wants the last.
He wants the last one, right?
That's right. And so we had to when we found out John wanted, you know, if there's 1,000, he wants 1,001. So we had to scramble and get on the phone to China to the printers and go, can you print one more? So it's kind of fun. But, you know, he does such great work with David Bedford, putting out books and blogs and really interesting newsletter stuff, information. So they should be landing in America soon. So if you've ordered one of Angie's books, next 2 to 3 weeks, it should be with you. But tell us about, I'm more interested, how on earth did you and your co-author come up with this inside story of Flo and Eddie and the Turtles and the intriguing title of Not Just Happy Together?
Wow.
Also a monster heavy, almost 500-page book. You know, Mark and I we've been working on a Monkees book for a while now. And the two things that we always thought, there's many. I'm not going to say, you know, that Wings should be in there. There's so Paul Revere and the Raiders, but the Monkees and the Turtles would always pow, pow, pow. Those are the two that should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And he did a few books in the past where he and a different author went through the catalog of the Monkees or whatever, and they both reviewed every song. And I said, Charles, would you like to do that with the Turtles? Do you like the Turtles? I go, do I like them? I love them, but I was honest. I only know their, 7, 8, whatever hits.
Right.
And he goes, oh, so you do know the other hits? And I go, of course, it's not just Happy Together.
Oh, sure.
And then when putting together the title of the book, we always were going to call it the Turtle from A to Z,
right.
AM radio to Zappa. But I said, no, dude, we have to call it Not Just Happy Together, because that's what people think.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the song, everyone loves the song.
Right.
but that was just the tip of the iceberg. You know, certainly that song is in everyone's DNA.
Yeah.
I've never met a person who doesn't say, "Oh, I love that song."
Yeah.
First thing out of their mind, and then they start singing "Imagine Me and You." They can't help singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. I actually heard it on television last night. There was a promo of one of the TV series coming up. I think it was, I don't know. I can't tell you.
Yeah, there's a lot of new series starting,
yeah.
and I think they're using "Happy Together" for a theme tune for one of the new sitcoms,
Yeah,
or something like that. So that's the beauty of things like that. They're just the gifts that keep on giving to the kids and the grandkids, right?
Yeah.
Well, so my co-author Mark Arnold, who's written a lot of other books, all pop culture, comic book, all kind of great stuff, was an authority, and he does that research. He's the one who digs deep, who played on every song, when it was released, what the deal is. And for me, it was more of a case of playing all the songs, and not just the hits I knew, but to go on and on into the deep songs and give my opinions of them. And I was like, oh my God, how can this band have not had 100 more hits? How could their albums have not sold? And there's a reason why. When you do the deep dive of the history, is at a time where the Monkees, the Beach Boys, Mamas and the Paupers were all on national recording labels. They would go into the studio, guys, and the record company would hire the Wrecking Crew, or whatever great musicians were in. They'd come in, they'd finish the takes in a day or two, in and out. And you'd have professionally amazing songs, right? Yeah. Very, very, very well done.
Right production, yeah.
The Turtles were on White Whale Records, this independent label that had their own studio, but didn't have the budget to promote them like crazy. Wasn't going to bring an instrument. They said, you guys, you Turtles, you go into the studio and you record your own. Well, guys, they recorded every note themselves, every lick, every instrument. And that really set them aside from a lot of the bands other than, the Beatles. Because, Dave Clark 5, you can go on and on and on. And it's other musicians who are Herman's Hermits who are on those records. Every single record is the Turtles. And when I played these songs besides the hits, I was like, oh my God, how is this not a hit? How does the world not know these songs? And that's a big part of the book, in my opinion, is rediscovering the original hits and learning new ones.
Well, maybe they will be,
a resurgence.
You never know.
Our friend Paul Moody, who lives on the beach here down in Playa del Rey, Westchester is actually where LAX is. He's just saying the Turtles went to his high school, Westchester High.
It's true. Growing up, when I always heard that the Turtles were from Westchester, I go, oh, cool.
New York.
Not New York, no. California.
From the Bronx originally. Well, they were neighbors of mine. No, Westchester, right?
Neighbors of ours,
that's the Westchester is the district of LA that the airport is. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And then
Joanne's just saying, what a coincidence. She's just finished her exercise class at the gym, and they played Happy Together, and the ladies were all singing along. And then she comes home, gets on here, and we're talking about the very same thing.
What a coincidence! Thanks, Joanne.
That's the universe calling out,
isn't it? Just
wow.
We also did a lot of interviews. We interviewed just about everyone we could find who was a member of the Turtles, played with the Turtles, recorded with the Turtles. And in doing so, some things came that we even know. Greg Hawkes from the Cars was in the West Coast touring band of the Turtles, as was Mitch Weissman, who was Paul in Beatlemania, was a member of the Turtles for a while. So we got interviews in there too. Yeah.
That is amazing. So how do you go about, like, when you start to research a book like this, you have to sort of, one thing must lead to another, right? You can't just Wikipedia who knew the Turtles. Take us on that journey of, like, how do you open one door, obviously, and then do you just say, well, who else should I talk to? And that's an interesting path.
So I had one step in the door, one foot in the door, because I had interviewed Howard Kalin, who was the main lead singer, and from Flo and Eddie from the Turtles, and we hit it off great. Did a long interview with Plastic EP from Australia.
Oh yeah, I know Plastic.
So I had that on the file already, and I think it's the last interview he's done, which was very exciting. And so that was then I wrote an article on why I love the band and how growing up I would be playing the Beatles and the Monkees and all my favorite acts. But when we got in a car in the 70s, I don't remember what year, it had a cassette player. And my parents got the Turtles' golden hits and Tom Jones's greatest hits. So those were the two go-to cassettes because we didn't have a Beatles or Monkees cassette. So we were playing those over, Tom Jones and the Turtles over and over.
Strange bedfellows indeed.
And so I already had that love, and it was a case of I wrote an article on why I love them so much and what they meant to me as a childhood. Mark Arnold wrote why they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then it was a case of literally spending months playing their songs and analyzing their songs. Mark, I give credit because he did the research. He did the who played on what when it was recorded. He did that, you know. And for me, it was more of putting my personality into it, because I don't like just, oh yeah, this is quite a good song because the chord changes evolve similar to, I just say, God, doesn't this sound like such and such? Doesn't this, and I'm more of the personality in the reviews, where Mark is more of the student of the actual musicology. So it's a great yin and yang. And if you know me and you read the book, you enjoy it even more because you're getting my shtick with all the reviews.
Sure.
Charles, you have shtick. Come on now.
I am old shtick.
Hard to believe.
He's got it, lots of it.
So how do you just, when you've interviewed people, how do you decide what order to put them in? Is it song specific, or is it in a timeline, or
chronologically?
I mean, I know the book is A to Z, it's alphabetical, but you know, if you've got one person who's got a connection to more than one song, how do you go about sort of authoring that?
Well, if there's an exhaustive index in the back, so that everyone who's mentioned, whatever page they're mentioned, whatever song is listed, you can easily find that. Yeah. But with the interviews, that's a good question, because we said, should we do it alphabetically? Should we do it in order of importance? And instead, Mark goes, why don't we do it in the order that we interviewed them? Dating.
I think that's good.
So we did that chronologically. This way, no one could ever be offended if their name was first. If it's alphabetical, you know, we don't want, you know, A might not have been the first one we would have wanted up there. Right. So yeah, there was definitely chronological.
How many songs did they record total outside of their, you know, top 10?
Yeah. That's something I should know for interviews, shouldn't I?
Well, is it 20? Is it 50?
Hundreds.
Really? Hundreds?
Yeah, no doubt. And there's plenty of clunkers. And when there's clunkers, I tell you why it's a clunker and what could have been better about it. But what you probably don't know, guys, is Flo and Eddie, the main singers, Mark Volman and Howard Kalin, went on to sing T-Rex, Bruce Springsteen. They were and they were members of Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention for years.
That's what Ashley Davey just said before,
So we had to include that, or else it wouldn't have been a complete, comprehensive, you know, discography. So not only do we have all the Turtles hits, they were the lead singers of the This Is the Gary Shandling show themes. We have that in there. They did a lot of cartoon animated background stuff for Strawberry Shortcake. I don't even know what those cartoons were. We have that in there, all the Zappa stuff. So, you know, what I thought was going to be a nice Turtles compendium at 200 or 300 pages, kept saying, how do we leave this out? This was an important and all that Zappa stuff was another 100 or so pages. So when you ask how many songs did the Turtles do, well, just the Turtles themselves, a few hundred. Before they were the Turtles, they were the Crossfires. They were like a Telstar, band that did all surf instrumentals. And then their post Turtles career was Flo and Eddie, then Zappa. So hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah, Karen in Edinburgh, he's working on a book. He's a real researcher of family trees and stuff, and he's saying it's a fascinating chat for him, because it's like, where do you start, how do you get a book out there, and where to start a book and where to end it. This is like, the difficulty. We couldn't stop writing about people that have crossed Angie's path because of her tangential connection to the Beatles. And so that's why we decided, when we'd reached our print budget, to just keep going and put it in an ebook so that if you own the book, you'll get the secret code and then you can go get the ebook. So, and we've also included a whole bunch of QR codes. Yeah. Like in your chapter, Charles, there's a QR code that leads to our last TeaFlix interview. So, you know, it's sort of a video companion ebook thing. And I think that's going to be the way of the future in my way of seeing things, because there is, the older we get and more time goes on, there is just more and more content, and you can't necessally sandwich it in a physical book. No, you know.
You know, I think you'll agree. A book, a film, a haunted house, which I do, is never finished. Never finished. You can start something, and that's easy.
Right.
Finishing it is you got to just draw that line and say, okay, I'm finished. And when you put it out, you realize that the book of top 10 Beatle lists left out Billy J. Kramer. And oh my God, how do I dare leave that out?
Right.
That happens. You're never finished. It's never finished. But that's, you know, right, to the consumer it is, to the person who buys it, but to the author or the producer, it's like, oh, I could have done that one more thing. I could have added 10 more. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. Still think of people I should have.
Like, whoops, Quincy Jones. Duh, how do you leave him out? But, you know, we did. But the good news about having an ebook is that you can add to that and just republish it, you know. Yeah. But, yeah, Quincy, have you seen the new, well, it's not new, but it's the documentary. It's not new.
I loved it.
Just fabulous, incredible. Yeah. And the other one is on our top 10 movie list for the last week is the We Are the World, the night they filmed that. Amazing. If you haven't seen that yet, just go. Great. It's unbelievable. Yeah. And I was thinking, you know, as a content person, how are they going to make a 2-hour film about one song that's 3 minutes long? But boy, did they ever. It is classic. It's all of that. They were running like 14 cameras all night in the A&M studios. So they've got Cyndi Lauper chatting with Steve Perry, and then they've got, you know, Bob Dylan was so insecure about his part, he couldn't find what he was going to sing.
Right.
And Stevie Wonder is a mimic. Stevie can actually mimic anybody. He's unbelievable. And so it was Stevie at the piano who found Bob's part for him to sing. And there's them sitting side by side, and Stevie's doing Bob Dylan to Bob Dylan. It's just amazing.
What about at the end thing Stevie said about
so it was Harry Belafonte that brought it all together. Yeah. And my favorite moment in the We Are the World docu is they're taking a little break. It's like 6:30 in the morning, and somebody says, you know, we've got to thank Harry Belafonte, and they all broke out, Deo, Deo, daylight come on, you know, and so they're all singing, and Stevie pipes up, Deo, Deo, me and Ray's gonna drive you home.
Well, I think one of them had to go to the bathroom and the other one was going to take them there.
Yeah, right. Stevie, Ray's like, I got to take a leak, man. And Stevie's like, come on, I'll show you where it is.
And someone said, oh my God, that's the blind leading the blind. That was the best line.
Literally. It's a great film. But it just goes to show, you know, the closeness and the camaraderie of music and the music family and the music industry. And it was right. Ashley saying the same with Huey Lewis's part, and Barbara saying she loves the synergy of musical experiences growing up in a shared cultural climate. That's, you know, some of the folks on here we've never met, but we're friends because of music and the Beatles and the 60s and all of this stuff. We understand each other on a certain level. Yeah. Right.
And Diana Ross, who we think is this diva who's above everyone and, Miss Royalty, when it was ending, she was crying. She says, I don't want this night to end.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's
right. This just reminds me, slightly off the track, but Paul told us once that he was on a plane in the middle seat sitting next to Stevie Wonder when the hostie came along with newspapers.
With the trolley. He could hear the wheels.
Yeah, you could hear the wheels, and the hostess stopped. Anybody want a newspaper? Paul put his hand up, and so did Stevie. Paul got a paper. Stevie got it and opens it, but it's upside down. They pretended to read it, but it was upside down.
Paul nudges Stevie Wonder in the
other way up.
Dude, it's upside down. Can you imagine boarding a plane, walking through first class and seeing Stevie Wonder sitting there reading a newspaper?
Upside down.
There'd only be one thing worse if he was sitting in the pilot's seat.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be no good.
I think it's wonderful, though, that he's always been able to make jokes about his disability.
Yeah, he's amazing, and so was Ray Charles. What a gentleman!
Yeah.
Holy moly, unbelievable! And then again, talking about the crossover and the collaborations. When you watch the We Are the World, and you see Quincy, and then you watch Quincy, and then he's remembering his relationship with Ray Charles. They knew each other since they were 16 years old, and Quincy's 90. It's amazing.
We're lucky with that because so many of them are still with us.
Yeah.
And you know what hit me? And it hit me when I did my book of top 10 Beatle lists and top 10 horror lists. And I wonder if you felt the same, that there was all these people who would have been in our books otherwise had we thought to do this 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's some are gone and some remain, right? Absolutely. Right. So what's on deck for you today apart from shoveling snow?
I have another interview in a little while, and then I go online and send out mass emails, and then I get on the phone with Instagram and Meta, and I try to recover the Facebook that was hacked in November, and I'm just going out of my mind because I'm not able to talk to all my friends, and people think that I've either died or I've unfriended them, but in fact it's because the Facebook account was hacked.
That's just awful. Well, this is a good way of letting people know.
Yeah.
So
you've definitely not died.
And
far
now,
from it.
Where should they go to find your latest book and all of your other books? We've got some of it, not just Happy Together, scroll across the bottom, but tell folks, since you're having Facebook problems, where best to find you. Thank
you. So the Turtles from A to Z, not just happytogether.com is the best place. And it's a big sucker like yours. It's heavy and it's really a great part of every collection. The book of top 10 horror lists with a chapter by this pretty gal right there.
Oh, that's old talk.
And Ruth is still upset that I didn't ask her to be in this book. I know. But a great chapter in the book of top 10 horror lists, which is www.bookoftop10horrorlists.com. And then the book of top 10 Beatles lists, which is sort of like a minor kind of version of what you've done, has Angie and it has Ruth with There Are Places I Remember, top 10 Beatle related places. And that's www.bookoftop10beatleslists.com. So those are the three that our followers and our friends and our fans would love to have, I think, in their collection.
Absolutely. Ashley's just saying it was great to catch up with you, Charles, at the fest.
Oh, great seeing him. We hung out a lot and reminisced. And he told me he would be watching this show and commenting. So
Well, as Paul Moody well knows, we finish our broadcast for our special guests only with a limerick. So I don't know if everybody's ready, but...
Are you sitting comfortably?
Yes.
Then we'll begin. A 1, 2, 3.
Today we held...
And again, one more time.
A 1, 2, 3. Today we heard Charles Rosenay tell stories from back in the day. Fill us in on the fest, Flo and Ed and the rest. You must buy his books right away.
Ta-da!
Wow. You've given me lyrics before. That might be the best of the bunch.
Okay.
I got something to rhyme with Rosenay, you see.
And did it have 3 exclamation marks on it as well?
It does, absolutely. Here, right here.
I love it.
Of course it does.
I'll mail it to you. How's that? We'll kiss it.
Put
some sealed with a kiss, and I'll stick it in the mail.
Amazing.
Great.
Yeah, thanks, Charles.
Thanks
for
taking
coming
the time. I know
Thank
you're busy. You've got a bigger name on the other line at the top of the hour, so we will love you and leave you. And thanks to all of you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you all of a sudden next week with Sandro Manetti, the BBC CNN royal correspondent. Cheerio.
Bye-bye.
Thank you again.